On Christmas morning, I overheard my wife talking to her sister in the guest room. She said, "He's so pathetic." I forced a smile. Every gift I bought her was charged to my own credit card. She treats me like a trained dog. They both laughed, while I sat alone downstairs. I just smiled and waited until everyone left. 2 weeks later, her sister texted me saying Alice was screaming and begged me to answer. "Hey Reddit, I'm a 31-year-old guy, married to Alice, 29, for 5 years. Well, I should say I was married because what happened this Christmas changed everything. It started about 3 weeks ago. December had been pretty normal. We were decorating the house, getting a tree, buying presents for family, all the usual holiday stuff. Things between us had felt a bit distant lately. Alice was spending more time with her sister Holly, but that didn't bother me much. Sisters are close, right? I'd spent weeks planning the perfect Christmas gifts for Alice. Had to watch the budget carefully, but managed to save enough for some nice jewelry, wireless earbuds she'd mentioned, and a fancy Korean skincare set she follows on Instagram. I was honestly excited to see her reaction. Christmas morning arrived. Her family was staying over, her parents downstairs in the guest room, and Holly upstairs. Everyone was still asleep around 7 a.m., but I was up making coffee thinking we'd have breakfast before opening presents. That's when I heard them, Alice and Holly, talking in the upstairs guest room. I was going up to ask if they wanted coffee when I heard my name followed by laughter. I froze on the stairs. The door was cracked just enough to hear everything. "Theo is so pathetic," Alice said. "You should see him. Every Christmas he gets so excited about his gifts for me, like he's expecting a medal or something." Holly laughed. "The best part," Alice continued, "every gift I buy, him is on his own credit card. He never even checks the statement. He's like a trained dog, so happy with whatever scraps I throw him." I stood there, stunned, trying to process what the hell I just heard. They kept talking, but I can't remember it all. Something about how she fakes her reaction to my gifts, how she's done this for years, how she finds it hilarious that I never notice. Holly asked why she even stays with me. Want to know the answer? His job has good benefits. He handles all the bills and he's easy to manage. Who else would put up with me like this? I quietly went back downstairs. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my coffee mug. I had to sit down and just breathe. An hour later, everyone was downstairs opening presents. I watched Alice like she was a stranger. She opened my gifts with huge fake smiles and over-the-top, "Oh my God, babe," reactions that I now realized were completely rehearsed. How had I never seen through this before? When I opened my gifts from her, a new watch, premium headphones, and a collector's edition video game I'd mentioned once, I just smiled and thanked her, knowing full well I'd paid for every single one myself. Her parents seemed clueless. Holly kept giving Alice these little smirks whenever I said something. The whole day felt like some bizarre alternate reality where nothing was as it seemed. After everyone left on the 27th, I did something I should have done years ago. I checked our credit cards, and holy crap, it wasn't just Christmas gifts. For years, Alice had been taking out cash advances on my credit card, buying things for herself, using our joint account, but telling me it was household expenses. She opened store credit cards in both our names that I never knew about, and borrowed from our savings without telling me. I found charges for spa days, expensive lunches with Holly, designer clothes, all while complaining we couldn't afford to renovate the bathroom or take the trip I wanted. The next few days were a blur. I functioned on autopilot, went to work, came home, pretended everything was normal, but inside I was furious. Alice didn't suspect a thing. She was too busy playing with her new jewelry and posting pictures on social media with captions like, "My amazing husband got me this for Christmas." Comments flooded in. "You're so lucky." Husband goals. I just wanted to scream. Every night as she fell asleep, I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying their conversation. "He's like a trained dog." 5 years with someone who saw me as a joke, as a damn ATM with legs. I dug deeper into our finances and found out she'd been sending money to Holly, too. Hundreds of dollars every month from our savings. For what? Who knows? Probably just because she could. On New Year's Eve, we were at a friend's party. Alice got drunk and ignored me all night, then demanded I drive her home early because she had a headache. But as soon as we got home, she perked up and started texting. Probably Holly. Something just clicked. I wasn't going to be the punchline anymore. I wasn't going to blow up or confront her in some dramatic scene that would make me look like the bad guy. No, I had to be smarter. That night, while Alice passed out from champagne, I opened my laptop and started making a list. Everything I knew, everything I had access to, everything I needed to do. The trained dog was about to show some new tricks. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've been working through my list, setting things up, moving pieces. Alice has noticed I've been quieter, but I just blamed it on a work project. She believed me. Why wouldn't she? In her mind, I'm still the oblivious fool who never questions anything. Yesterday was the last piece of the puzzle. I confirmed something I suspected but needed proof of. I won't go into details yet, but Alice and Holly's little game goes way deeper than I thought. Tomorrow, everything changes. I took the day off work. Alice is going to her sister's for the weekend, thinking I'd just be here waiting like I always do, like that trained dog she laughed about. She has no clue what's coming. I've never felt this calm and focused before. It's like all those years of being used have finally sharpened my mind. I'm not even angry anymore, just ready. Ready to show Alice and Holly exactly who they've been messing with all this time. Update from OP, the one you've all been waiting for. First off, thanks so much for all the comments, DMs, and awards on my last post. I never expected that kind of response. Reading your messages has been validating, but honestly a little overwhelming, too. So the last 2 weeks, where do I even begin? After discovering Alice's betrayal, I went into this weird, unnatural calm phase. I wasn't sleeping much, maybe 4 hours a night, but my mind was razor sharp. It felt like all my emotions got funneled into pure focus. The morning after my last post, something weird happened. Alice asked if I wanted coffee while she was making some. She never does that. In 5 years, I've always made my own. It was like she sensed something was off and was trying to be extra nice. Too little, too late. First thing, I called my bank during lunch, sitting in my car for privacy. I changed all my passwords, set up 2-factor authentication, and requested new cards. Told them my wallet felt sketchy. After a grocery run, they overnight shipped everything. To my work, not home. When Alice texted asking why there was a fraud alert on our joint account, I just said I was updating security after hearing about some data breach online. She bought it without question. The irony, her worried about fraud. Next, I started a journal documenting everything. Screenshots of bank statements, credit card bills, records of all the gifts she gave me, photos of things around the house I paid for, but she claimed as gifts. This wasn't just for divorce. It was for my sanity, to remind myself I'm not crazy. Day by day, I made small changes. Stopped doing her laundry. I still did mine and hers before. Stopped asking what she wanted for dinner. Started hitting the gym after work instead of rushing home. Declined going to her friend's birthday dinner for the first time. Stopped texting her during the day. Nothing dramatic enough to raise alarms, but enough that she noticed. On day 4, she actually asked if everything was okay. I shrugged and said work was stressful. The old me would have apologized profusely and tried to make it up to her. Not anymore. Behind the scenes, I was taking care of the bigger stuff. Found an apartment, not fancy, just a 1-bedroom about 20 minutes away. Paid the deposit and first month's rent from a personal savings account she didn't know about. I'd started that 2 years ago for a surprise anniversary trip. Guess that was never happening. I called a buddy from college who's a financial advisor. We met for drinks and spent 3 hours going through my finances. His face when I showed him what Alice had done, it was priceless. He helped me build a step-by-step plan to untangle everything. One of the hardest parts? Not reacting when Alice said or did something manipulative, like when she surprised me with takeout paid with my card, then expected endless gratitude, or when she complained about money but spent $300 on clothes. I kept thinking about all the red flags I missed, the way she got annoyed when I wanted to check our joint account, how she dismissed my budget concerns but always bought new stuff, how she isolated me from friends like Jake and Mark, those expensive girls' trips with Holly, and how she made me feel guilty for buying anything for myself. Speaking of friends, I finally reached out to Jake and Mark after 2 years. Alice always said they were bad influences who didn't respect our marriage, but they'd tried contacting me multiple times, and Alice lied that I was too busy. We met up for beers, and it felt like no time had passed. I haven't told them everything yet, but it was good to reconnect. Around day 8, I noticed Alice texting Holly more than usual and frantically. That night, I pretended to fall asleep on the couch, but caught her sneaking into the bathroom with her phone, whispering. I overheard her say, "Something's wrong with Theo, he's acting weird. What if he knows something?" Holly told her she was paranoid and that I was too clueless to figure anything out. That comment made finalizing my plan way easier. By Day 10, I had opened new bank accounts at a different bank, transferred my direct deposit, documented all our assets and their approximate values, gathered important documents, birth certificate, passport, etc. Quietly packed a suitcase with essentials and stashed it in my car trunk, and consulted a divorce attorney recommended by my financial advisor buddy. Alice definitely sensed something was up. She tried initiating sex twice that week, which was rare. I made excuses about being tired. The confusion on her face almost made me laugh. The trained dog wasn't performing on command anymore. The Wednesday before everything went down, Holly came over for dinner. I played my part perfectly. The oblivious, slightly distant husband. Made small talk, cleaned up after dinner, then said I had work to finish and went upstairs. Instead, I sat at the top of the stairs, the same spot I'd overheard them on Christmas morning. And wouldn't you know it? They started talking about me again. Alice was genuinely worried, saying, I was acting weird, distant, not texting her like before, not jumping to do things for her. Holly told her she was overthinking it, that men go through phases, and Alice had me wrapped around her finger. They had her wrapped around their finger too tight for anything to change. If only they knew. Friday morning arrived, the day Alice was heading to Holly's for the weekend. I acted normal, helped her load her overnight bag into the car, kissed her goodbye. She looked relieved that I was back to normal, said she'd miss me. I smiled and said I'd miss her too. As soon as her car vanished down the street, I sprang into action. I called the moving company I'd already arranged. They showed up 30 minutes later. In 3 hours, we packed all my furniture and stuff. I brought into the marriage, my electronics, clothes, personal items, everything I could prove I bought with receipts. I took half the kitchen stuff, trying to be fair. I left behind all her clothes, vanity, desk, bookshelves, anything clearly hers or that we'd bought together, but I couldn't prove I paid for alone. By mid-afternoon, the apartment was set, up with my essentials. Not cozy, but workable. The movers were great, didn't ask questions when I tipped them. Next, I went to the bank and withdrew exactly half of our joint savings. No more, even though she'd been stealing from it for years. I wanted to be completely legal. Back at the house, I arranged the final touch on the dining room table. I spread out copies of credit card statements showing her purchases of my gifts, screenshots of cash withdrawals she'd made, receipts of Christmas gifts I bought her, a file of money she'd sent Holly from our joint account, and an audio recording of them talking about me being a trained dog. Yes, I went back and recorded their latest conversation, totally legal in my state. On top of all this, I placed divorce papers from my lawyer next to the stack of evidence. I left my house key and wedding ring there, then blocked her number. But not before sending one last text. The trained dog learned some new tricks. Enjoy your weekend with Holly. I kept my phone unblocked for any other numbers, just in case of emergency. I'm not a monster. Then I went to my new apartment, ordered a pizza, cracked open a beer, and waited. Around 8 p.m., my phone blew up with notifications. Alice had clearly come home early and found everything. Text after text from unknown numbers, her using friends' phones after realizing I blocked her voicemail, emails, social media messages. I didn't reply to any of them, just sat there feeling a huge weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I could breathe. Then this morning, around 10 a.m., it happened. A text from Holly screaming, "Please answer her." I smiled, took a screenshot, and went back to assembling my new desk. To be continued. Final update time. Reddit, it's been a wild ride these past few weeks, and I owe you all the conclusion to this saga. Thanks for riding this emotional roller coaster with me. So that text from Holly, she was screaming, "Please answer her." I stared at it for a solid 10 minutes before doing anything. Part of me felt twisted satisfaction. Another part felt empty, like I'd been running on pure adrenaline for 2 weeks, and suddenly my body remembered exhaustion. I didn't reply right away. I finished assembling my IKEA desk, those damn hex wrenches, am I right? Made some coffee, took a shower. My phone kept buzzing with more texts from Holly. "This isn't funny anymore, Theo. She's having a breakdown. At least tell me where you took everything." She called my work, and they said I took vacation days. That one actually made me laugh. Yeah, I'd planned that too. 5 vacation days saved up that Alice didn't know about. Wasn't about to deal with this fallout at work. Around noon, I finally replied to Holly with one message. "You both laughed at me on Christmas morning, called me a trained dog. How's it feel to be on the other side?" She responded instantly, saying it was just girl talk, I was taking it out of context, and Alice really loves me. Then in the next breath, she called me an expletive for abandoning my wife. The cognitive dissonance was impressive. I blocked her number too. By evening, the messages had spread to email, social media, even LinkedIn. LOL. Alice went full nuclear, posting a status about how her husband disappeared and took everything, conveniently leaving out why. Her friends commented with the predictable, "OMG, are you okay?" and "What a monster" replies. Meanwhile, my friends Jake and Mark were texting me support. They'd gotten hostile messages from Alice demanding to know where I was. They didn't know, of course, and wouldn't have told her anyway. That night was weird. The first alone in the new place. Air mattress. Real bed arriving next day. Takeout containers. Half-unpacked boxes everywhere. The silence was deafening. After years of Alice's constant talking, TV shows, phone calls with Holly, I had to put on a podcast just for background noise. I slept terribly, woke up at 3 a.m. with a pit in my stomach. Not regret exactly, more like the reality of what was happening finally hitting me. 5 years of marriage over, starting fresh at 31. All those plans, house renovations, maybe kids. Someday, trip ideas, all gone. For about 30 minutes, I almost texted her. Almost. Then I remembered Christmas morning's conversation, the bank statements, being called a trained dog. The pit in my stomach hardened into resolve. Day 2 after escape, texts from unknown numbers increased. Alice's parents. Her dad's message was actually decent. Said he didn't know what happened but hoped we could talk it through. Her mom's was less kind, calling me every name in the book. I ignored both. Then mutual friends started reaching out. Most had. Heard only Alice's side. A few asked for mine. I kept my replies simple. There are 2 sides to every story. I'll share mine when I'm ready. Meanwhile, I settled into my new routine, set up my gaming PC, ordered groceries delivered, didn't want to risk running into Alice at our usual store. I started looking into gym memberships near my new place, just normal life stuff, but it felt oddly freeing. On day 3, I finally checked my email and saw a message from Alice, sent at 3:42 a.m. It said she knew she messed up, and whatever I heard or thought, we could work through it if I just talked to her. The house felt empty without me, and she didn't mean it. Holly was pressuring her to act cold and distant. You know how Holly is. Please come home, she said. We can fix this. Classic Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender blame. Holly had said, I think I heard something. The nerve was honestly impressive. I forwarded the email to my lawyer and didn't reply. Later that day, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Holly, calling from a friend's phone. She sounded different, quieter. She said Alice had been staying with her since finding the house empty. Hadn't slept, barely eaten, called in sick to work. Then came the bombshell. Alice had maxed out her personal credit cards. Without access to my income or our joint accounts, she was in serious financial trouble. Not my problem, I told Holly. I added that maybe Alice should have thought about financial independence before treating me like an ATM for 5 years. Holly started crying, apologized for her role, said she never thought it would get this bad. I almost felt sorry for her, almost, until I remembered her laughing about the trained dog comment. My sympathy vanished. Before hanging up, I told Holly one thing. Tell Alice my lawyer would contact her next week, and that's the only communication she'd get from me. Week 1 turned into week 2. I settled into my new place, hung some pictures, bought plants. Always wanted houseplants, but Alice said they were messy. Divorce papers moved slower than movies, but faster than I expected. Alice shifted from rage to desperate bargaining. Flowers showed up at my work. How did she even know I was back? A handwritten letter in my mailbox. Definitely stalking. A sad playlist shared on my Spotify. I blocked her immediately. Through it all, I stayed silent, letting the lawyers handle it. The financial fallout hit her hard. I heard through a mutual friend she had to get a roommate for the house because she couldn't afford the mortgage alone. That roommate? Holly. The irony was perfect. 3 weeks after escaping, we had our first and only face-to-face meeting. Lawyers present. Seeing Alice again was intense. She looked smaller, tired, hair pulled back messily, not the flawless style I was used to. The moment she saw me, she cried and tried to come closer, but her lawyer stopped her. My lawyer laid out my terms: sell the house, split proceeds, even though I'd paid most of the down payment. Division of assets done, no alimony since we'd both worked, clean break, no contact. Her lawyer countered with ridiculous demands. She wanted the house, wanted me to pay her credit card debts, wanted alimony. My lawyer slid over the evidence folder: credit card statements, recordings, proof of financial abuse. Alice's face when she saw I had receipts for everything was priceless. Her lawyer's expression changed too. They asked for a private consultation, and when they returned, their demands had shrunk considerably. We didn't settle everything that day, but the tone was set. Alice wasn't going to get her way this time. Outside the meeting, Alice tried one last time, grabbed my arm in the parking lot after her lawyer left. She was crying, mascara running, promising to change, get therapy, never talk to Holly again if that's what I wanted. For a split second, I remembered the Alice I fell in love with, the woman who laughed at my bad jokes, who cared for me during that terrible flu 3 years ago, who looked so beautiful on our wedding day. Then I remembered Christmas morning. He's like a trained dog. I gently pulled my arm free and said the only words I'd say directly to her. I deserve better than being someone's joke. So do you. Then I walked away. The divorce was finalized 3 months later, faster than average. My lawyer said it was because we had no kids and Alice didn't contest once she saw the evidence. We sold the house, split the money, divided assets, signed the papers. 5 years of marriage boiled down to legal jargon and signatures. It's been 6 months since that Christmas morning. Spring turned to summer. My apartment feels like home. I've reconnected with old friends, made new ones, started a cooking class. Something Alice always said I'd be terrible at. Turns out, I'm not half bad. Last I heard, Alice was still living with Holly. Their perfect sister relationship cracked once they actually lived together. Holly's boyfriend moved out when Alice moved in. The financial strain showed Holly who Alice really was, someone who just takes and takes. Sometimes at night, I think about everything, not with regret, but with a strange kind of wonder. How did I not see it? Why did I accept that treatment? Therapy's helping me understand it wasn't weakness, it was trust. I trusted someone who didn't deserve it. Yesterday, I got a friend request on Instagram from Alice. I declined without a second thought. 10 minutes later, a text from an unknown number. I miss you. I'm sorry. I've changed. No response from me. No need. That chapter's closed. The trained dog learned new tricks, found a new home, and is finally off the leash. And you know what?